In this video, we're going to talk about how to convert a percentage into a decimal. So let's start with this example, 75%. How can we convert this number into a decimal? A simple way is to divide 75 by 100. If you type this in your calculator, 75 divided by 100, this will give you 0.75 as a decimal. Or you can start with a decimal and move it 2 spaces to the left. So 75% is 0.75. So let's try another example, 28%. If we take the decimal point, move it 2 spaces towards the left or divide it by 100, this will equate to 0.28. So 28% is 0.28. Try these two examples. Convert 36% and 45% into a decimal. So if we move the decimal point 2 spaces to the left, this is equal to 0.36, and 45% doing the same thing is 0.45. Now what about 9%? What is the value of 9% as a decimal? So if you start with the number 9, and if you move the decimal 1, 2 spaces, which it should be here now, you need to add a 0. This will give you 0.09. Now what about 4%? What's the value of 4% as a decimal? If 9% is 0.09, then 4% must be 0.04. Now feel free to pause the video and try these 3 examples. Convert 3.6%, 5.2%, and 1.9% into a decimal for the sake of practice. So if 4% is 0.04, 3.6% must be 0.036. Divide it by 100 or move the decimal 2 units to the left. So 5.2% must be 0.052 and 1.9% is 0.019. Now sometimes you may have a percentage that's larger than 100. So what is the decimal value of 136%? So if we take the decimal point and move it 2 units to the left, it's going to be between the 1 and the 3. So this equates to 1.36. So based on that example, convert these values into a decimal. So if 136% is 1.36, 438% must be 4.38. 596% is 5.96. And 240% is 2.40, or simply 2.4. You can write it both ways. Now in other cases, you may have a number that's less than 1. For example, let's say if you wanted to convert 0.15% into a decimal. You want to follow the same pattern. Move the decimal point 2 units to the left. Or simply take a calculator, type in 0.15 and then divide it by 100. So 0.15 divided by 100 is 0.0015. If you move it 2 spaces to the left, this is 1, this is 2. So make sure you fill in another 0. So the decimal point is now right here. So there's 2 zeros in front of the 1.5. So that's 0.15%. So if 0.15% is 0.0015, then go ahead and convert these values. 0.24%, 0.38%, and 0.41%. So if 0.15% is 0.0015, then 0.24% must be 0.0024. 0.38% has to be 0.0038. And the last one, 0.0041. Now let's try some other problems that have smaller values. So for example, I'm not sure what just happened there, but let me rewrite that. 0.05%. Go ahead and convert that into a decimal. So if we move it 2 spaces to the left, we need to add a 0. So there's going to be 3 zeros before the 5, so it's 0.005. Now try these: 0.073%, 0.016%, and 0.024% for the sake of practice. So 0.073%, all we got to add is 2 more zeros. It's going to be 0.00073. And 0.016 is going to be 0.00016. And then this is 0.00024. And that's about it. Now let's try a mixed review. Let's see if you got it. So I'm going to give you 6 problems, and I want you to convert each percentage into a decimal. So feel free to pause the video as you work on these examples. That's a 5, by the way. Let me just rewrite that. So let's start with the first one. Let's move the decimal 2 units to the left. So the decimal has to be in front of the 4. So it's 0.43. That's 43%. 8.2%. If we move the decimal 2 units to the left, there's going to be a 0 in front of the 8. So it's going to be 0.082. 750%. If we move the decimal 2 units to the left, it's going to be between the 7 and the 5. So it's simply 7.5. Now for 0.29%, there's going to be 2 zeros in front of the 29. So it's 0.0029. For 1580, the decimal is going to be between the 5 and the 8. So it's 15.8. And for the last one, we're going to add 2 zeros. So there's going to be a total of 3 zeros in front of the 3. So it's 0.00034. So now you know how to convert percentages into decimal values. And so that's basically it. By the way, if you want to find more videos like this, check out the description text below, and you can access my pre-algebra playlist if you haven't done so already. So thanks for watching, and have a great day. Now I want to show you one of my algebra courses that might be useful to you if you ever need it. So go to udemy.com. Now in the search box, just type in algebra and it should come up. So it's the one with the image with the black background. So if you select that option, and if you decide to go to course content, you can see what's in this particular course. So the first section, basic arithmetic, for those of you who want to focus on addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And it has a video quiz at the end. It's a multiple choice video quiz. You can pause it, work on the problems, and see the solutions. It covers long division, multiplying 2 large numbers, and things like that. The next tutorial is on fractions. Adding, subtracting fractions, multiplying, dividing fractions, converting fractions into decimals, and so forth. So you can also take a look at that. Next, solving linear equations, which we covered, and just more examples if you need more help with that. The next topic, order of operations, which is also useful. Graphing linear equations. You need to know how to calculate the slope. You need to be familiar with the slope-intercept form, standard form, and just how to tell if lines are parallel, perpendicular, and so forth. And there's a quiz that goes with that as well. The next topic is on inequalities and absolute value expressions, which are also seen in a typical algebra course. And then we have polynomials, and that's a long section. And then factoring. That's another topic you need to master. And then system of equations. You can solve it by elimination, substitution. There's also word problems as well. Sometimes you got to solve equations with three variables, x, y, and z. So that could be helpful. Next, quadratic equations, how to use the quadratic formula, how to graph them, how to convert between standard and vertex form. And then you have rational expressions and radical expressions, solving radical equations, simplifying it, things like that. And every section has a quiz, so you can always review what you've learned if you have a test the next day. So here we have complex imaginary numbers. You need to know how to simplify those. Exponential, functions, logs. I have a lot of videos on logs. And then this is just functions in general. Vertical line tests, horizontal line tests, how to tell if a function is even or odd. And then conic sections, graphing circles, hyperbolas, ellipses, parabolas, and things like that. There's 2 video quizzes because it's actually a long section. And finally, arithmetic and geometric sequences and series. So that's my algebra course if you want to take a look at it, and let me know what you think.